Many of us will be getting restless and frustrated at being cooped up at home. But the message from New Zealand soprano, Dame Kiri Te Kanawa, is to keep focused, stick to the rules, don't bend them. She should be back in the UK by now, but of course there's no flight, and she joins us from her home in the Bay of Islands. Kia ora, good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody.
Nice to have you on the program again. Lovely to have you here. We need some soothing advice, something from you to take us into the next couple of days and through this first week. What can you tell us?
Well, I do 10,000 steps a day. I cook, I bake, I use up everything we've got in the refrigerator because we have 5 people in the house, all isolated. We're voluntarily isolated, but we're being very careful, not going fishing. Looking at the water out there is very appealing, so no fishing, but we can fish from the shore, but there's nothing much coming in for us. But just staying focused, supporting everybody, being kind. Most important thing is being kind to each other. And I think that's a big thing, because at these stressful times, sometimes we get aggravated. And I think this is when the mental side of us must be strong and focus on whoever is around us to be strong. That's what I'm focusing on.
It's really good advice. Just on the fishing point, I was a bit naughty. I went and did a bit of that fishing. But like you, there was nothing there.
No, there's nothing there, but so it doesn't matter. We just have to stay and enjoy what we have. We are very lucky, and we must support our Prime Minister. She's done an amazing job with all the different tragedies that happened over the last 2 or 3 years. I think she's been amazing as a leader of our community. It's very inspiring.
You must pinch yourself, actually, because it's a good place to be, New Zealand. You're in the Bay of Islands, you're sort of isolated, but you're inoculated in many ways because, well, you're not in Europe.
Yes, the most important thing is that we save lives by staying here. Don't go out. Just stay in your own home so as you don't infect anybody else. That's the big thing, is to not reinfect. So that's what the Prime Minister has suggested, that we stay home. And I think that's such an important message for all of us. So just keep calm and stay home.
Yes, because lots of people are going for walks, though, because you still need your sanity.
Well, I go for walks, but I'm walking within my property and on the beach. So we're all very lucky. But as long as we keep to the distance that we're supposed to keep to. And don't forget, Anzac celebrations are coming along soon. And so many people sacrifice during those times. This is not a big sacrifice, just a few weeks of staying isolated and holding up in our homes. That's not a big sacrifice if we're going to save lives.
Dame Kiri, music has played a massive part in your life. How can it help people over the next few weeks and months, and how is it helping you?
Well, unfortunately, yes, it has helped, but I have students in England who are suffering. So my foundation is now looking to see if we can't assist with some crowdfunding, because they're in dire straits. One of my students, singers, has lost a whole year's work. So that's, to get all those contracts a year ahead is so important. And now they've gone. So music, yes, is playing a lot. And we listen to a lot of music, but there's not much community now because we're all separated out by these devices, our only communication. But we are trying to look and lead with some sort of help for the students that I know are suffering over in England.
I'm a huge fan of going to the theatre, and I'm a huge fan of going to concerts. But at the moment, you've got your theatres closed, your concerts cancelled, event businesses are shut. How confident are you that your industry will survive this and come back and strongly?
Well, I'm hoping they will, because I've already talked to one opera house and saying, well, they've lost work. Are you going to support those people who have lost work? Because it's not forever. It will continue eventually. So this is not for the next 5 years. It might go slow, but I think it will continue, and everyone will survive. Some will not, of course, and that's where we must try and help and support. But for the moment, the musicians are getting together, but unfortunately not all together in the same room, which is what we're used to.
Well, don't, Kiri, I've got a lot of time on my hands at the moment, as many people do. Now, I cannot hold a tune to save myself. I can sing because no one's around to hear me. Any tips on, can you teach yourself to sing?
You can sing along with people, but I'm drawing and doing pastel drawings and things and then listening to some nice music. But I don't sing anymore, so that part is over. But I'm happy to listen to other people, that's for sure.
So what about for me to learn to sing, though? Have you got tips that could help me?
Well, if you can't hold a tune, we've got a problem. But maybe
I'm a lost cause. You
We've got a
can say.
problem.
That's a no, a firm no.
I'm not sure he's that good with the pastels either, to be honest. Are you much of an artist?
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm a lost cause.
Well, what about something that you make in the kitchen? So you mentioned at the start of the interview that you open the pantry, open the fridge, and you make good with what's there. What's your little favourite that you do?
Well, the thing is, it's Fijo season. I've got 8 Fijo trees, so I've just picked them up off the ground. I've preserved them. I've made a Fijo loaf. We've got quince. I've made the quince paste. We've got Sharon fruit, which we will eat. So we're looking quite good with some of the fresh fruit that we've got here. But the Fijos are massive. So I've just done everything. I've stewed them with the apples we've got on the tree. So I've just kept going with all the different. I don't want to waste anything. They're not going to sit on the ground and just rot.
I was going to say, those Fijos on the ground, you can use that. You've got to have those ones first.
Yes, absolutely. And you can use the skins. I've looked up on all the recipes, and you can use the skins for juices and all sorts of things. So, but it's just going on the web, because it's so valuable to find out all the different recipes you can do. And so just keeping busy and just the most important thing is to keep busy, keep focused. Don't get to sort of when you go to the end of the day and it's dark and you think, what's going to happen tomorrow? Well, we go to bed and wake up to more positive things tomorrow, things to do. There's always a plan. I found some material. I'm going to start making masks.
Hey, this is brilliant. The longer you stay here in isolation, we could use it in our agony aunt section. We have used our agony aunt. Hey, lovely to see you, and thank you very much. Some brilliant advice, and the Fijo loaf sounds fantastic.
Listen, keep going, and encourage everyone to be kind and helpful to the next person to you. And lots of love to everybody in New Zealand.
Brilliant. It's a real privilege to have you on the program again. We really appreciate it. Opera singer, of course, Dame Kiri Te Kanawa, isn't she lovely?
And we all learned something new about that Kiri's wife. She's a fisherwoman.
Yes.
Yeah, and she likes to fish.
Yes.
She's looking out there at the beautiful weather. We are being, us fisher people, are being absolutely tormented by the weather. We go into the first week of lockdown and it's 5 knots variable out there. Absolutely fantastic. No one can go out.
Was she telling me off, do you think? Just a slightly
Totally, that was an absolute day. Can I just say, she's so gracious. Just the way she looks, she talks, she holds herself. There's something just so beautiful. She's like epitomising
and so honest about Mark.
I know. In a nice way, she crushed my hopes and dreams.
Yes.